Amy, how did you find Carnivore?
I actually have some really good friends from my church that had been on Carnivore listening to Dr. Ken Berry for probably 2 or 3 years. And they just kept encouraging me. And they saw all of the health problems that I had and just kept encouraging me to try Carnivore. And so I started right away once they told me and got going on it. And I think that I know for sure, I feel the most hopeful that I've ever felt about my future in my whole adult life, thanks to Carnivore.
Wow. So what were those health issues that you were dealing with?
Oh my goodness, I have a very long list because I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that's a collagen disorder, a connective tissue disorder. I don't make good collagen. And so I call EDS the equal opportunist to mess anything up because it really can. But with that, you get POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I also have mast cell with it, and mast cell activation disorder. That's a histamine disorder. Um, my list is so very long. More importantly, though, than those things, I have about six congenital heart issues. I have two holes in my heart. I have a pacemaker because my heart was pausing too long. It's not a defibrillator, it's just an electrical current that would kind of not jump over where it's supposed to be. Um, and several other things wrong in my heart. And so, and I also have a bidirectional shunt in my heart, which one of the problems that I was having was being able to walk. Um, I in my home, I had an electric wheelchair. Notice the word had that I used anytime I was outside of my home. I didn't use it in my home because I hardly ever stood up, so I didn't really need it. But outside of my home, I was dependent on it for quite some time, and it's something that I wish that I wouldn't have had to have done. But I thank goodness for that wheelchair. It gave me my life back a little bit. I sat at home for many years, unable to do the things I wanted to do and a lot of the things that I had to do. Well, I started January 20th, 24 on Carnivore. And by the second week of March, I was able to take my wheelchair and put it in storage because I didn't need it anymore. So I've gone all that time. It's been nice. When I first started, I couldn't even stand up long enough to fry an egg. And now I can fry 6 eggs if I want to and clean up after myself after I've cooked and things are a lot better. I still have a lot of trouble standing for too long because of the shunting in my heart. It messes with the way that your blood flows with your oxygen and all of don't even understand all of it, but yes.
Wow. So you're moving around much more freely though than you were before, and the wheelchair's gone.
Yes, the wheelchair is gone. The batteries are still on my couch that I need to go take to storage. So it's my only memory of the
Wow.
wheelchair in the house. Yes.
Wow. So like as a picture of your normal day to day, um how have things changed?
Well,
Like practically.
very much so with my mind being so much more clear than it was. I had extremely bad brain fog. And proof is that it's better because I would always end up saying brain frog. Uh, that's how much brain fog I had. so, but also my depression is gone. I had very bad depression, and I'm an author, a writer. I've written some carnivore children's books, and I've been a lot more clear to be able to write those and be more creative. And when situations come up that would have depressed me before, I don't get that knee jerk reaction of, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I'm so overwhelmed. I might as well kill myself. Because, that's kind of where my depression took me all the time. Now I'm like, oh, that's a problem. You know what? If I tried this and then I did that, and I'm able to think through things and, you know, progress through problems without it being depressing at all. And to me, that is amazing. because that's more than half of my battle. Because I was so disabled by not being able to get out and go do what I want to do. I'm also a photographer, so I had to take all of my pictures from inside of my car because I didn't have the ability to get out and walk around. And my personality is that I can find the bright side to any situation. So I always used to kid with myself and say, well, I'll be that one weirdo on Good Morning America that is famous for taking pictures out of her car. That's not what I want to be famous for. But so that is my personality, that I can always find a workaround of some kind. But in reality, I felt like I was lying to myself, and it was very depressing, And so every time I came up against a challenge, it just fed more of that depression. Both of my parents had passed away in the past 5 and 7 years, and I'm not married. I don't have any children, and I'm very, very alone. And so it was difficult to find support and people to come help me and do the things that I needed done at home. And, but slowly, now that I'm better, I'm able to start doing those things myself. And that's so much of an encouragement to me. I'm a very, very determined person. And I just look and see possibility all around me. And I'm kind of at that point in carnivore. I think it happens in different stages for some people, but my brain is way far ahead of my energy. And I really feel like if my body could keep up with my energy, I would have a million things done tonight by 6 o'clock. you know.
So now you're taking photos outside of the car?
Occasionally, I live in Texas, and so there hasn't really been much photo taking this summer because it's been so hot. And heat is one of the things that I deal with, that really sets me back with the POTS. My POTS is much better. One of my main goals is to help people with EDS understand that there is some help. EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, there's no cure. There's really no treatment. You just kind of manage injuries. I was dislocating joints. Every day I dislocated a joint, and I had pain from head to toe, very bad chronic pain. Just really not fun to live with. But since doing carnivore, probably since about April, I've noticed that I hardly ever dislocate anything. And if I do, the pain doesn't last nearly as long. And my overall pain is gone. That's amazing. And those and my chronic fatigue, it's getting a little better. I was sleeping anywhere from 2 to 3 hours a night, not even all at the same time in those 2 to 3 hours. So now I'm averaging 4 to 6 hours a night of uninterrupted sleep. And I think the main reason is because my pain is so much better. My pain was waking me up, and so I've had every blood test that you can think of, that everything for the first time in my life is smack dab in the middle. So I think I have PCOS and hypothyroidism and several other a whole list of autoimmune disorders. And so far, I really believe that, I don't know to say if they're in remission is the right thing or they're gone, but my blood tests are showing that I do not have those problems as of now. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like in another 3 to 6 months.
Oh, that's fantastic. And so have you given any feedback to the people that recommended that you do this?
Yes, of course. And they're very excited. Yes. Yes. I don't see them very much anymore, but yes. And I'm so thankful that they told me, because I've also, you know what, Dave, it seems like everything that I say, there's one more step of what I had that, and I know so many people have so many illnesses that they deal with that carnivore helps them. And I'm waiting for the day when I can say, have a conversation with someone and they tell me all the things that are wrong with their grandmother that I'm not thinking, oh, I have that. Oh, I have that. I'm waiting for that day. But also had gastric bypass surgery and was told, you cannot do carnivore with gastric bypass surgery. I had that in 2014. And I initially lost about 75 pounds, maybe around 80 total from the very beginning. And I moved home to try to help my parents while my dad was in stage cancer. And I lived with my mom for 2.5 to 3 years. And I probably gained only 35 of that initial that I lost. I never did lose my whole amount of weight. As a matter of fact, with POTS, when you're losing weight, makes your pots burst sometimes. So now with Carnivore, I've lost 56 pounds. And so it's the lowest weight that I've ever been in my entire adult life, actually, right now. So I'm not complaining about that. But I didn't do it for weight loss. I did it for health, knowing that weight loss would follow.
The thing about the weight loss on carnivore is it's you know, even people that go into it with weight loss being the main goal end up feeling like, oh, this isn't the main thing. This is just the icing on the cake, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yes, or the grease on the bacon. We don't want to talk about cake. I'm just kidding.
True, true, true. Very good
Just
point. So day to day, how are you eating?
So I actually, this is very interesting because when you have gastric bypass surgery, you cannot eat a lot of fat at one time. Um, if you eat carbs, sugar, fat, fried food, those things, it causes a terrible thing called dumping syndrome. And it's really, they designed it that way so that if that happens to you, you never want it to happen again. And it's supposed to help you moderate your eating, basically, is the premise behind that. So my stomach is about the size of an egg, supposedly. It doesn't really, your pouch, it's called a pouch, and it can't really stretch out after surgery. People think that it does. And you go from being able to eat like a fourth of a cup of food right after surgery till about a year out. A normal plate of food is what you should be able to eat and stay full so that you're not hungry for about 3 to 4 hours. And it's encouraged that you eat several times a day. Well, those people that I know that have gastric bypass surgery, I haven't met anybody yet that lost all of their weight and has kept it off. I think I'm the only one that I know that only gained back 35 pounds. Everybody usually goes where they were before and over, just like any standard weight loss program that people do when they stop doing it. So um, I was having a hard time getting my fat in, and Nisha at one point, Nisha Berry told me to partner my fat with some protein, like put extra butter in eggs or on a meat patty or something like that. So I started doing that, and that helped. But I was still having some issues and just feeling like I wasn't getting enough to eat and not getting enough fat. So I decided that I would go back to the rules of gastric bypass surgery, which are that you eat smaller amounts and you do not drink anything during your meal, like 30 minutes before, during the time you eat, and 30 minutes after. I'm assuming, nobody's told me this, but I'm assuming because that liquid will then wash the food past your small intestine where you only have a little bit of small intestine. So if your food doesn't get absorbed while it's hit that spot, you're not going to absorb it. And so I started using more eggs, started making chaffles. If you haven't made a chaffle, it's just like a waffle, but a CH. Go look it up. Um, I use cheese with my chaffle and eggs, usually one egg, sometimes two. This is an example of one that I would make. I would put some cheddar cheese down, crack an egg, and then put some pepperonis on there, maybe a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and then a little bit of the cheddar cheese on top to make it crispy. And then I'll either put butter on it after it's done, or I'll dip it in cream cheese, or spread cream cheese on it, or same thing with sour cream. And so I'm getting my fat in different ways. And I did as an experiment starting, let's see, what is this? This is November, starting at the beginning of October. And I've lost, I think, 6 or 7 pounds doing this. So it hasn't slowed my weight loss down, but it's actually given it a little pickup. I'm losing approximately 2 pounds a week, which is a very normal weight loss, for somebody that's trying. So that's mainly what I eat. I eat meat maybe 2 to 3 times a week. That's it. Been on carnivore since January. Still have not eaten a single bite of steak. um, yeah, so I'm usually eating brisket or hot dogs because I can cut them in half and put them in the air fryer, and some sausage links, things like that. But And I do drink protein drinks. I drink a lot of bone broth. Um, I have two different flavors, a chocolate flavored, which is excellent, and a strawberry flavor. And I usually drink them hot, and I put coconut oil in them or butter. And then I also have another protein drink I drink if I feel like I'm just needing something. But it's hard to eat with gastric bypass surgery if you feel full, because you definitely can get things get stuck, and then you end up vomiting because it just sits there and it's painful. A lot of people that have gastric bypass surgery don't talk about that. I think it also happens with sleeve, possibly sleeve surgery. But so there's always a workaround. I don't care what it is I'm doing. I'm having to find a workaround, but I like that because I'm creative and it gives me a challenge.
There is so much to consider. Like, I think a lot of people that have never done something like this would think that the gastric surgery, oh, that's you're just taking the easy way out, but it doesn't sound like the easy way out at all, right? It
Not
sounds
at
like,
all. Gastric bypass
yeah.
surgery was probably the hardest thing I've done. And thank goodness I was never really a sweet eater. I'm a salt eater. So carnivore works really well for that. And one of the things that I do that helps me with that, well, in the beginning, I don't worry about this anymore at all. But in the beginning, because my life literally, before I started carnivore, I lived off of tortilla chips and salsa because I didn't have to cook them. I could keep them right by my chair. I felt like death warmed over most days. With EDS, you generally feel like a normal person feels on the worst day of the flu for them. You just don't feel good. And so that's a lot better for me too. But that was basically my diet, or I went to somewhere and bought things. And in the beginning, I had to buy already cooked food. So I bought already cooked hamburger patties. So I didn't have to do anything but put in the microwave. I learned how to make my eggs in the microwave because I couldn't stand up long enough to scramble them or fry them. And my cleanup was better because it was the same dish that I cooked in, I ate out of. And I also spent a lot of time watching Laura Spat that had all the tips about going out to eat. So I learned how to go to McDonald's, get meat patties, and so now I do Sonic. I don't know if many people have Sonic. Maybe it's just a Southern thing, but I go there if I'm on my running somewhere and I haven't had time to fix breakfast, and you just go order a couple of sides of bacon, and it's great. So I still get to feel like I'm doing my old routine without having to feel like I'm punishing myself or something of that nature.
And what is the reaction to people around you?
you know, Dave, that's a really interesting question because my mom put me on my first diet when I was 8 years old. And she had me on a major diet every year of my growing up, even until I went to college. And bless her heart, she was trying her best to help me. But what it really taught me was that she was never happy with me. So I was never happy with me. I was never happy with the way I looked. I was never comfortable because I felt like she always wanted to change me. And I know that wasn't her intention. When we're kids, we perceive things a lot differently than our adult minds do. But sometimes that gets stuck in your core beliefs and you have to work on that stuff. But so she would also have, I lived in a small town, and she would tell people I was on a diet, and then they would watch me to see if I cheated or not. And my doctor, my very first diet, I was in third grade, he paid me um, money for each pound that I lost. I can't remember. It must have been $1 a pound because I made $30. I lost 30 pounds when I was 8 years old. So, um, that's probably wasn't a cool thing for him to do. But at the same time, um, he knew me very well and knew that my personality is to challenge myself. So in the long run, I appreciate that. But now when I go somewhere, I think of a way to open up a conversation with someone, or even if this is a good example. So I'm standing in line at the grocery store and I see you yawn. I was like, oh goodness, are you tired a lot? You know what? I used to be tired, but I started eating a carnivore diet and you wouldn't believe it. I find the wildest ways to tell people. I tell everybody that I see, and I tell them how much weight I've lost. And the lady that where I go pick up my brisket, she started carnivore. My counselor started carnivore. I have two or three other people have started carnivore just from my testimony of me telling them how good I feel. So, like, I have no problem telling people now. And before, I would have never told someone that I was on a diet, never in a million years. And if I told you how much I weighed, I'd probably have to take you out back and kill you because nobody was allowed to know that either.
So it must. So it's obviously done something for your confidence, no? Because I mean, even now, I would struggle to just strike up a conversation with someone in a line and tell them about whether it's this topic or some other topic. You know?
Well, as you can tell, I'm a little bit shy. No, I'm not shy at all. Um, I'm a missionary, and so it's easy for me to talk to people. And I just think it's important too. I have an important message to share with people, and this is where the children's books come in. Was thinking today that parents that want to give their carnivore child a birthday just like every other kid has, or like they had when they were a kid, and wants to give them a cake and they can have one piece, it's not loving your child. You're actually setting them up to tomorrow. Oh, mommy, can I have another piece of that cake? You're opening a door that could be dangerous for them. When in reality, if you explain to them, even if they're 5 years old, if you explain to them why we don't eat these certain things and what they can do to your body, and remember Grandma Smith and how she limped around all the time, it's because she ate just to educate the children. And so this is why myself and my co-author have written these children books to help expose kids to the truth of what the difference between eating beef, bacon, butter, and eggs, and whatever you might allow for your child. I think sometimes in seasoned fruit, or I'm not sure what all the kids do. Uh, but just to educate them, and then a way to tell their friends and share with their friends. And we're making the kids who, in our book series, the kids who tell their friends about carnivore, then they become a superhuman power food hero, and to get to join that club. So we're real excited about developing all of that. But if my mom would have sat down and explained to me, maybe I would have understood, maybe I wouldn't, that, this is for your health. I want you to be healthy. And, instead of, well, you're the biggest kid in class and we don't want that, do we? And so what happened is I was hungry. So I would hide with basically uh, oh, cans of mushroom soup and bread, and I would go hide in my closet and eat it. I was hungry. She had me on a diet. She wasn't starving me by any means, but it wasn't a carnivore diet that I was eating either. So I'm sure, carbs were spiking, things of that nature. And was told a lot of times, the whole house is suffering because of you. So, you can't cheat, but. And so it's just, I just want kids to know it doesn't have to be like that. I want parents to know that they don't have to treat their kids like that you can start healthy. And I was thinking about, what if you had a child that had a peanut allergy and they were invited to their friend's birthday party? Tell me that mother would not call the host and say, my child has peanut allergy. Please don't serve anything at your home with that. Would you do that if you had a carnivore child? No, but I was thinking, why not? Why not take your own treat for everybody to have? Take some bacon, take some whipped cream with some in season fruit, and for everybody to have, and so everybody can still participate. And just you just have to be creative and think outside of the box. And that's one thing that I, by myself telling other people about carnivore and talking to them about their children with carnivore, I hope that I spur that on in people to think outside of the box.
Yeah, that it's a very good point about the peanut allergy. Like we seem to have this, even if we know the carbs are bad, we seem to have this feeling like, "Oh, yeah, but we can't say anything because then people are going to think we're weird or whatever." But it's like it's a toxin. It's like your body doesn't like this stuff, but we still go, "Oh, yeah, but we'll just go along to get along," kind of thing.
Yes, I was thinking too about on your birthday, we all feel like, oh, it's my birthday. You know what? I'm going to have a piece of cake because it's my birthday. I deserve it. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. If you really truly loved yourself, you wouldn't feed yourself something that's going to give you any type of harm at all. one bite of birthday cake for some people is too much when they're dealing with carb addiction. So why not do something completely different? Go to the park with your friends, go to a painting class, go do something extraordinary for your birthday that doesn't involve eating. And then if you really want to celebrate, go buy the expensive steak that you never allow yourself to have if you're carnivore. There's so much more you can do besides just trying to reward yourself. And quite frankly, when I thought about this too, today, just today actually. So if you tell yourself, maybe I learned this as a teenager, oh, I lost 20 pounds, I'm going to reward myself with a Snickers. No. So with carnivore, oh, it's my birthday and I've done so well, I'm going to reward myself on my birthday with some cake. And then you fall off the wagon, so to speak. Well, you fall off the wagon because there's probably some past trauma, something about your self esteem that you're not happy with, something going on inside that is keeping you from being able to do what you need to do to have the best you that there is. Maybe you somewhere inside and you don't even realize, maybe you feel like you don't deserve to be the best you. I suffered with that for a long time. So this is another thing that carnivore has done with me, that depression. I'm able to think through things, like this and come up with a better answer. And, you know, I don't care if I never have another birthday to celebrate with anybody ever. If it's my birthday and I feel like I want something, I'm going to think about, oh man, for a year now, I've been eating all of this and I feel so good. I want to feel better. So I'm going to eat extra bacon today. I mean, that's a little silly, but I hope you get my point there.
Yeah, and it's always important to remember. I think it may have been Michaela Peterson that said this, but um, nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
I always thought when people said that they were lying because I never felt healthy. Because I was, I mean, just never did. But I certainly, compared to most people, don't feel healthy yet. But compared to where I was, leaps and bounds ahead. And the truth of the matter is, because I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, that's not going to go away. Can it get better? Yes. Can my pain go away? Can my dislocations get better? Yes. But I'm never going to be 100% compared to what most people would call 100%. Maybe my 100% is somebody else's 75%, but to me, that's 100%. And I've had to learn how to live with that. And so my pain tolerance is, you know, off the charts. Most people with EDS, it is because you're so used to getting injured, So I look forward to where I'm going to be this time next year. If I've come this far in this amount of time and I had such a deficit where I started in my health, I can't imagine what it's going to be like next year and the year after that. Yeah. Even with heart palpitations, I felt them every day, all day long. Now I'll feel maybe 3 times a week. I'll go, oh yeah, those have been missing. Oh, I felt that one, and that's awesome.
So when you went over to carnivore, did you go through any transition symptoms?
Honestly, I don't think that I did because I had so many other things going on. But and I just decided that I'm going to do this, and I can tell you I haven't had a single craving. I don't know if that's by the grace of God, pure determination, or I was just consistent in what I did. And consistency is what wins the game because that consistently is accumulative, and I can look at all the progress that I've had. One thing that I certainly did to help me, and I think that this is so, so important, I set goals for myself. And I wanted to pull up really quickly so I don't misspeak on which ones I did. But I had a system of keeping my goals. I wrote them down, and this is what I did. I did an analysis of my goals, which basically was what what I wanted to do. I need help. Things are bad. I looked at where I was. What can I do to help myself? I couldn't really help myself. Then I wrote down the objectives. How was I going to help myself? I was going to eat beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And I put some more things with that. Then I looked at my strategy. How am I going to do that? Because I couldn't cook it for myself. How am I going to do this? And so I came up with buying pre-cooked food. pre-cooked hamburger patties. If I had to have, I would have brought pre-boiled eggs if I needed to. And then the next thing I did was action. What action do I have to take to make this happen? Well, I had to do a little bit of research. I had to find where I could grocery shop and find the already cooked things, and then the best way to prepare those things. And then my mindset. I had to change my mindset that I could do this. This is a challenge. I'm going to take this as a challenge and a puzzle, like I'm in a game show, and to see if I can win the prize instead of, well, I probably won't be able to do that Thursday because if I do something Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to have to rest Wednesday through Saturday. I didn't do that to myself. I changed my mindset. Every day I'll do what I can do, and I won't let myself starve on any single day. So I have to have a plan for that. And the last thing was the solution. Why? What? Not just why am I doing this, but what am I going to accomplish at the end? What is possible? And I didn't even know, so I wrote down some possibilities. And that goal setting really helped. I made myself a little chart that I could do online. So I made little stickers of beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. And for every single day, like a 5-year-old, I put a little picture in there. And I did the 90-day challenge, and I broke it down in 30 days. And I weighed every day. I also took a picture of everything that I ate so that I would have in my head what portion filled me up, if I liked it, if I didn't like it. I still take pictures, not every single day, but most of the time. But and since I started eating more of the gastric bypass, slowly in smaller amounts, now I'll take a picture of the beginning, and then I'll take a picture of when I felt full, the second that I felt full, and then I'll go back. I'll take a picture of what that is, and then I'll go back and finish that. And that let me get pictures in my head instead of something I was missing. Well, I really miss those tortilla chips because they take zero effort. So I had it right on my phone. I could go look at it. It helped me plan what I was going to do the next time. And things like that are what helped me. I also would write down how hungry I was before I ate. I only did this for 3 months, by the way, and I didn't even do it the whole 3 months. How I felt before I ate, how hungry I was, did I enjoy the food, how I felt afterwards. And that helped me start dealing with some of the emotional reasons why I ate or didn't want to eat or whatever. And so I just had a plan and stuck with it. And I told myself when I started, this is 3 months of my life. If I hate it in 3 months, I've had no improvements, I can go do whatever I want. I don't have to keep doing this. It's a free country in my head most of the time, a lot more free now than it was. So that I just set myself up for success, and that's something else that I try to help people realize. If you just write down, take pictures, just pay attention to what you're doing. You cannot do carnivore and not pay attention, at least until you get the hang of things, in my opinion. And that 30-day, 90-day is perfect. It's like training. How long does it take to break a habit? Is it 30 days and develop a new habit? 30 days. So maybe that's why 90 works so well. 30 days to break the habit, 30 days to put the new habit, and 30 more days to practice it. I don't know.
Yeah. And yeah, I think once it's been 90 days, it's like unless you've got some kind of bad reaction to something, it's like, well, I'm not going back.
Yes. And there have been plenty of things that I ate that I was like, oh, not doing that again. Or I didn't realize I liked that, you know? And it's been easy for me to travel on the road too. I found things that I can take with me. If I get overly hungry, I always have something with me because I think that's part of the battle too. Hunger is different with gastric bypass surgery than, like, I don't think I will ever be able to eat just one meal a day. Um, some days I'm just not hungry, but I don't plan on that. I plan to have at least 2 meals, if not three. And one of those meals I consider bone broth, like in the morning. I usually don't eat anything until noon or after. And I try not to eat anything past 7. And if I find myself hungry at night, then I might have a jerky stick or another cup of bone broth. Or my favorite thing that I did beginning, bacon crumbles already cooked put them about a fourth a cup, maybe sprinkle a little cheese, put them in the microwave for about 45 seconds. It makes them extra crispy. You can feel like you're eating popcorn while you're watching a movie, or for my sake, chips, but just a little bit to, so you can't go in thinking about that you're denying yourself. That's another big problem that will cause people to not be successful. You're not denying yourself, you're giving yourself a gift.
That's very well said. Yeah. Um, so Amy, how do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. It's called Amy, a carnivore created in secret. And
Mhm.
it's pretty new, but I named it that because I didn't start telling anybody about carnivore until maybe 3 months ago. Yeah, I mean, I told strangers, but people that I knew, I didn't tell, especially people from my hometown, because I had been on so many diets and was still very heavy. And I just didn't want the pressure. I didn't want people asking me questions, you know. So, but now it's out. They'll either still love me or not. I don't know.
And how about your books? What are the names of the books? How can we find them?
Well, do you mind if I show them to you? I have them right here. So the first book that we did is called Superhuman Power Foods for Humanity. Let me see if I can get it in the right space. Oh, good grief. Uh,
I think because of your
get it.
background,
Oh, here
maybe
we
it's
go.
there we
Sorry.
go.
I'll put it right in front of me. So it is a activity book, a comic book. It has coloring pages in it. There is a place to write your own recipes and make your own comics. It's basically it's a poem that I wrote, and my co-author and I put the pictures together in activity pages, um, and it's some encouragement and teaches about the standard American diet. And so it's a really fun, cute book, and a lot of people are saying some really great things about it. And the portion right now, a portion of these funds for this book are going for the fundraiser for the Healing Humanity movie. And you can find it on Amazon. You can type in my name, Amy Hosp, or Lynn Devoki, if you know Lynn, or you can just look up Superhuman Power Foods on Amazon. And then my other book is called Sugar Cubie, the Sugar Monster. And these guys in the book, see if they're on the back. So Dr. Barry's children and his grandmother are starring in the book. This is his child and his two children and his grandmother. And Sugar Cubie comes and he sprinkles sugar in all of the lunch bags and snack bags of the children at school. And the children go to visit Dr. Barry's grandmother, Granny Berry, and they're grouchy. And she's like, "Why are you so grouchy?" They're like, "I don't know." So the Superhuman Power Foods comes in and helps Granny Berry teach the children about sugar. And Sugar Cubie Monster also learns that it's not good to give sugar to children. And so this one is a storybook rather than an activity book, but it's really cute and fun little story. And of course, the Berry children at the end become superhuman power food heroes for learning the lesson. And we have several more. Same thing, you can find this on Amazon by typing in my name or the name of the book. Um, and they're great for grandparents to get their kids if grandparents are doing carnivore and their parents aren't. Our hope is that the kids will ask mom and dad to help them do what's in the book, and if you don't have, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you don't have any children, um, buy a book and put it in your local library or your local school library, definitely. Because we just want to spread the word. There are no other books online or for sale anywhere that we have found that has carnivore books just for children. They're nothing like this. So we're very excited that Lynn and I both have that same longing to help children understand from early age what to do.
Very nice. Well, I'll link to your YouTube channel below and also to the books. Um, Amy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. I loved it. Thank you.